So the first thing I'm going to talk about is get better. Like I said, at the end of the day, never recruited a kid. Scout will tell you in the NHL that they never drafted a kid. Colleges will tell you they don't recruit kids that aren't very, very good at hockey, number one, and two, don't have impeccable character. So for me, it's about working to get better at the end of the day. And how do you do that? I think one of the biggest things, you got to surround yourself with good people, good coaches, parents. Obviously, you don't have a choice about that if you're a kid, but how you interact and how your parents treat you is very, very important. I tell kids all the time in my team building that the most important choices that they're going to make in their teenage years is who their friends are. There's going to be certain kids that you're friends with that will lead you down one way that probably isn't so good. There are certain group of friends that you may have that have similar aspirations to you or are passionate about something. It doesn't even have to be hockey. And surrounding yourself with good people will get you better at hockey. Number two, consistent preparation equals consistent habits. I think every single person that's spoken tonight has talked about how important habits is. And to get good habits, you have to be good every day. And so you have to go in with a plan. You have to be prepared. You have to have a mindset that you go in, whether it's a training session, whether it's school, whether it's a hockey practice, whatever it is, how you do anything is how you do everything. So your consistency and your preparation and your work habits, that's going to make you better consistently at the end of the day. And then lastly, it's so important if you want to get better at hockey to focus on what you can control. And you can control your attitude, you can control your effort, you can control how you treat people. In this comparative culture that we live in, especially with social media and how much recruiting has become a part of social media with the typical, hey, I'm so honored I committed to X school, thanks for everybody helping me along the way. That's not in your control. Other kids getting recruited, schools liking other kids, all of that kind of stuff, that's nothing that you can control. So if you can put your focus on becoming the best hockey player that you can be and not worry about comparing yourself to others, it's so good, not just even necessarily for becoming a better hockey player in the process of wanting to get recruited, but just from a mental health standpoint too. Man, that's gotta be tough. I argue that I'm very, very lucky that I grew up in an age where social media was not a thing yet. And I can't imagine what it had been like if I had. Uh, Also, another thing about getting better, what are you doing when nobody is looking? When I go and I do my team building with different teams around the country and in Canada, one of the first things that I do is I ask everybody, okay, everybody in this room right now, do you work hard? And raise your hand if you work hard. And everybody raises their hand. I said, okay, now if I go to every other place in the country or in the continent, and if I ask them if they work hard, what are they going to do? What's the percentage of people that are going to raise their hand? They pretty much all like about probably 100%. So, hey, everybody works hard, but it's what the people do when nobody is looking, when you're not being asked to work hard, when you take it upon yourself and you have the intrinsic motivation to better yourself. Those are the kids that you see the progression. One of the biggest things we look for as scouts is how much better you're getting. So if I got two kids that are at the same talent level at 19 years old, but I saw both of them at 16 years old, and one of them didn't get any better from 16 to 19. They're just that talented. And one of them got a lot better from 16 to 19. I'm going to take the kid that got a lot better from 16 to 19, 10 times out of 10. So I think it's what you do when the lights are off, what you do when nobody's looking, what you do when the scouts aren't in the stands. That's what's going to become your habits, and that's the way that you're going to play when the scouts are in the stands. Also, compete with your peers. I think a couple different people today have talked about competitiveness and how important that is. Have a buddy along the way that you want to get better with. Like I talked about earlier, surround yourself with good people. If you can get one or two kids that have the same goals and aspirations as you have, and you compete with each other to get better on a day-to-day basis, oh my God, how much better are you going to be with that competitive aspect to it? So find some people that that have very similar goals to you and compete with them on a day-to-day basis. It's so powerful. And then lastly, I say again, what's in your control? That's what you need to focus on. Your attitude, your effort, the amount of time you put into your habits and getting better at those. That's what you should be focusing on a day-to-day basis. So again, at the end of the day, it's all about development. It's all about getting better. So much of what these kids are being taught and being spoken to is about the fluff, the exposure, the all-star teams, all of that. Hey, look, I've recruited in Florida. I've recruited in British Columbia. I've spanned the entire continent in college recruiting. He's getting into Europe even now. There's so many kids out there. What are you going to do? Don't worry about everybody else. You get better and we will find you. That's the most important thing.